Very good morning to you, Zoe. We've spent a lot of time this week, haven't we, listening to politicians debating, arguing, but actually, do you think, potentially, the human cost, you know, we had 61 feared dead after their boat sank off the coast of Libya. A man, we believe, took his own life on the Bibi Stockholm. Is the human cost here being forgotten?
The human cost is being normalised, and sadly, we will continue to have these conversations as long as the framing of this conversation, as far as our politicians and our leaders is concerned, is about the fiction that we can prevent migration from happening. Migration is a completely natural and normal phenomenon. People have always and will always move from places where they are not safe, where they do not have opportunity, and where they cannot live, to places where they believe they will have safety and opportunity. And an honest government would level with the public, would say, this is a natural thing that happens. We will manage it in a way that protects human life above all else, and that also protects our community's needs, that invests in our communities in order to be able to receive people in dignity, in safety, and make migration work. But as long as our conversation is focused on the fiction that we can prevent people from seeking safety and we don't have to offer them real solutions, then we will continue to have a conversation about people who are either driven to desperation and who die within our asylum system, or who die trying to reach it. And that is a horrific stain on our conscience as Europeans, as Brits, as people who care about other people.
It's the criminal gangs, the government will say, that are the real problem, and those gangs they want to prevent. Do you think there'll ever be a situation, whether it's the Rwanda bill, whatever the government put in place, that will actually essentially be able to stop those boats? Because they keep coming.
Everybody knows that the criminal gangs are horrific. They don't care about the human beings that they are trading in. But everybody also knows that the criminal gangs are not the root of the problem. What we have is a situation where the number one nationality coming over on those boats is Afghans. Those are people who are demonstrably linked to the UK, demonstrably fleeing from danger that they cannot survive. It is simply the case that they do need solutions. And if we do not offer them solutions, they find those solutions in the hands of the criminal gangs. If we close our borders to them, if we give them no means of escape from that evident danger, then they will find escape through the criminal gangs. The market for the criminal gangs is fueled entirely by the fact that we have utterly failed Afghans and other refugees around the world by failing to provide them with safe means of escape. There will always be another person who you can bribe or you can pay to get you across a border if that border is close to you in all other ways and your life depends on crossing it. That will always exist as long as we fail to offer these people alternatives.
Well, Rishi Sunak says that he wants to stop the boats, and one of those ways that he hopes to do that is sending people that arrive here illegally on a plane to Rwanda. Clearly, you don't think that that's the right way to deal with it.
Absolutely not. And I think it's really important that we confront the messaging that Rishi Sunak is bringing out specifically this weekend. His messaging this weekend is about the fact that we would be overwhelmed if it were not for his plan to send people to Rwanda, his plan to team up with Meloni, who you're showing on screen right now, the far-right leader of Italy, who is making the same false promises to her people in Italy, right? They are saying that if it is not for this cruelty that demonstrably kills people, that Europe would be overwhelmed. This is not the case, right? We are talking about 30,000 people who have made the crossing on a small boat to the UK this year. 30,000 people is by any measure a number of people that the UK can and should safely and humanely support. This is not an existential threat. And the danger is that we allow the narrative to continue that it's Rishi Sunak and Rwanda or chaos. And that is a lie. And the media and all of us have a role in challenging that lie, because the truth is that there are other ways. We do not have to have a news cycle where we have to discuss the deaths of desperate people who have no homes, no prospects, no future, no safety every single morning, every single month. We don't have to have that. We can and should have a conversation about ways to manage migration humanely in order to accept the fact people need solutions, people need to escape their homes, people need to find safety. We can offer that safety. The numbers are not overwhelming whatsoever. We are capable of offering that safety. We, in fact, desperately need that labor, that young people coming into our country because we have aging populations. The UK has an aging population. Italy has an extremely serious problem with its aging population. The truth is that we need migrants and migrants need us. People need each other. This is not a threat to us.
What did you make then of Rishi Sunak taking up the invite by Giorgia Meloni to speak at the event in Italy yesterday? And the language, I suppose, you know, using words like being overwhelmed. How do you frame his position? Because there'll be a lot of MPs back home happy that he's hardening his line on illegal immigration.
I think we all need to take serious care and serious stock of how much our conversation about this issue has drifted, right? It would be extraordinary a couple of years ago to talk about refugees seeking protection, to talk about asylum seekers taking desperate means to reach safety as illegal immigrants. It would have been extraordinary a couple of years ago for the British Prime Minister to attend what is the successor to a neo-fascist tradition in Italy, and their meeting, which includes the like of Steve Bannon from the United States, which includes the like of Viktor Orban from Hungary, which again, a far-right leader. And it would have been extraordinary to talk about sending refugees who are in need of protection without assessing their needs for protection to a country in Africa, and that being presented as something even vaguely reasonable. That would have been extraordinary a couple of years ago. And I think it is vital that we all check ourselves and ask ourselves why, when a couple of years ago I would have referred to people as asylum seekers, am I referring to them as illegal migrants now? Why am I accepting a framing that demonizes a small number of truly desperate and vulnerable people who need solutions around the world? Why am I allowing a government that has failed us in so many ways, failed us on the NHS, failed us on the economy, failed us on schools crumbling to pieces? Why am I allowing a government like that to justify its existence off the back of the extreme demonization of those desperate people? We need to ask ourselves who we are, and we need to desperately, we are in a serious point of asking ourselves who we are as a continent here in Europe. Who are we and what will we be going forwards? Because going forwards, there will always be migration. How will we confront it? That is the question. Will we manage it humanely, or will we give in to these narratives of hate?
Zoe Gardner, good to get your thoughts.